Well, let's go over to South Carolina. Since we're talking about the Civil War, South Carolina, the first team to secede from, or the first team, the first state to secede from the Union,
See, you don't just
Fort
get that history
Fort
anywhere.
Sumter. Yeah.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
if your parents, if you love college football and you're watching the show and your mom's like, "Are you doing your homework?" You can say, "Yes, mom, I'm doing my
That's right.
history homework."
That's right. I'm doing history right now.
So South Carolina, coached by Shane Beamer in his third year, a record of 15-11,
Mhm.
which doesn't sound that great, but in 2020 they were 2-8. In 2021 they were 7-6. Last year they finished with a record of 8-5, including 4-4 in the SEC. They come with Arkansas. I mean, with offensive coordinator Dow Logans. He comes from Arkansas, where he was the tight end coach, but he's also had an NFL career. He's coached with the Titans, the Jets, the Dolphins, just three schools three teams that he's been with. I'm telling you, this heat is like frying my brain. Zzz, can you hear it? It's like sizzling. Remember those commercials from the 80s, the egg and the skillet? This is your
You said
brain
your
on
brain
drugs.
on drugs. Yeah,
This is my brain when it's 259 degrees outside.
exactly.
I don't know why all my temperatures end in 9. I don't know why that is, but it's probably the heat.
That's right. That's
Okay,
exactly right.
quarterback Spencer Rattler returns 3,000 plus yards last year. He's a good quarterback. He just was in a tough situation in Oklahoma
Yeah.
because he was following in the steps of Heisman Trophy winners. But
Yep.
he'll be back for another year. He's got a great receiver in Antoine Juice Wells to throw to, an all SEC performer, a tight end from Arkansas in Trey Knox, and a running back in Juju McDowell, who's going to have to step up big this year.
Mhm.
So the offense lost some. They've got a few changes, but you got that key position, veteran leadership from Spencer Rattler. Does he take it up a notch this season, Darren?
I, I think there's the potential that he does because all the conversation out of Columbia has been simplified offense, simplified offense, simplified offense. Apparently, part of what was going on last year with Satterfield and his offense was it was too much. That being said, I still think one of the things you have to be prepared for if you are a South Carolina fan is this offensive coordinator hire could be an absolute bust. Dow Loggins has not had success anywhere he's been. I know it's the NFL, but he has not had success anywhere he has been as an offensive coordinator. And I think that has to be a realistic. You're not being realistic if you don't think that's a possibility. So I think all the concern is on the offensive side of the ball. I think it could be an absolute disaster from the word go. And I think if we've seen anything, unfortunately, with Spencer Rattler, is if things starts to go off the rails, they can get off the rails quickly with him. It could become a kind of a disheveled mess in a hurry. That's my concern for their offense. That being said, if the mistakes of the past for the offensive coordinator have been learning experiences for him, and everything you're hearing out of the South Carolina camp is true, that Spencer Rattler has really grasped this simplified offense and is working well within it. I mean, the talent is there, obvious, and they could still they could catch some people off guard if he comes out looking like he did, when he was a freshman. Man, who knows what that looks like? There could really be some amazing things or incredible things happen with them this season.
There are a lot of questions on the offensive side of the
Yeah,
ball. I think
definitely.
you hit it right on the head, Darren. On the defensive side of things, Clayton White returns as defensive coordinator. He's had a coaching career of over 20 plus years. In
Mhm.
2022, the Gamecocks forced 23 turnovers, which put them at second in all of the SEC. And they were first in the SEC in interceptions with 15. So the defense stepped up big time last year, but they lost 3 players to the NFL. They struggled to stop the run.
Yep.
So they're going to rely on linebackers like Debo Williams and Mohamed Kaba and a terrific safety, freshman All-American, SEC All-Freshman team, Nick Emanwari. And I'm not making fun of the name. It's just that I don't want to get the name wrong because I know how
Right,
important people's
exactly.
names are, and I don't like it when someone mispronounces my name. So I was trying to slow myself down there. Nick Emanwari. Is that right? Is that correct? Yes.
That sounds right to me. Yes.
Okay. But terrific, absolute terrific player.
Yes,
And
very much so.
so I think their strength is going to be on the defensive side of the ball.
And you know, it's kind of what it looks like how it sets up, especially with what they do bring back. As long as they can shore up that run defense, they've obviously got some experience on that side of the ball, and from a coordinator um, perspective, that is definitely the side of the ball you have more confidence in when you look at the coordinators for sure.
Mhm. So let's look at South Carolina's schedule before we move on. They open up. I love the opening game for them. North
Hmm.
Carolina. What a great idea! I don't know whose idea that was, but terrific.
Fantastic.
That's a game that I want to watch.
Yep, definitely,
And then
definitely.
they have Furman, which yeah, but I understand because then they have
Yeah.
Georgia the next week, and
Oof.
I think do they travel to Athens for that one?
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
they have
that's rough.
Mississippi State at home. They go to Knoxville to play Tennessee. They've got Florida at home. They go to Missouri. They go to A&M. Then they've got Jacksonville State, Vanderbilt, Kentucky at home. So 3 straight home games before they finish with Clemson.
Yep.
Not an easy
Eh,
schedule.
No, and at least the Clemson game is at home because honestly, everything we talked about with the Missouri schedule, it's kind of the opposite with South Carolina. They've got to go to Athens, they've got to go to Knoxville, they've got to go to A&M. That's tough. And the thing that makes the back end of that schedule even worse is let's say things do get off the rails offensively. It, at Georgia is going to be ugly. At Tennessee is going to be ugly. You come in limping to Missouri, I think Missouri is going to be good enough that they can make you pay for that. So especially when you're having to go to them, then you come out of what will obviously be a demoralizing loss to Missouri, just because if you're a South Carolina fan, you think you can. That's a game you think you can win, and so you probably see it as a must win. Then you come out of that and have to go to Kyle Field and play A&M, and then you've got Vanderbilt and Kentucky sitting there, which, depending on how their seasons go, are going at that point. That could be a pretty ugly warm up for Clemson. This could be a schedule that absolutely obliterates them. This is a very tough setup for them. If I'm a South Carolina fan, I don't have a whole lot of positive feels looking at the schedule at all.
It is going to be a tough, tall order for Beamer ball this season.
Yes, definitely. There better be a lot of Beamer ball, some special teams.